Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. On behalf of the World Maritime University and our partners at the Arab Academy for Science, Technology, and Maritime Transport, I'm delighted to welcome you to today's webinar, The Future of the Maritime Sector in Africa. I'm Associate Professor Khansa Lagdami, and it is my great pleasure to co-moderate this session together with Captain Ahmed Ismail, Vice Dean for Foreign Affairs at the Maritime Safety Institute at the Arab Academy, joining us online from Alexandria in Egypt. And my colleague here present, Dr. Anas Alamouche, also from the World Maritime University. Together, we are very pleased to guide you through today's discussion. The maritime sector plays a vital role in Africa's economy development and integration into global trade. It not only sustains livelihoods through shipping, ports, and logistics, but is also shaping the future through grain shipping, digital transformation, maritime education and training, and port modernization. At the same time, we must address challenges of inclusivity, such as empowering women in governance and decision-making, and fostering international cooperation that strengthens regional capacity. To help us explore these pressing questions, we are honored to have with us a distinguished panel of experts and leaders. Dr. Kamal Din Ali, Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Ms. Mwanolulu Issa Mwajita, Head of the Africa Section at the International Maritime Organization, Ms. Leila bin Hassan, Founder and CEO, Blue Jay Communication, and Dr. Captain Amar Munir, Director of the Marine and Offshore Training Center at the Arab Academy, and he is also a alumnus together with Isa. Over the next 40 minutes, our panelists will share their insights on the trends shaping Africa's maritime sector and how collaboration, both regionally and internationally, can drive an inclusive, sustainable blue economy. And afterward, we will open the floor for a Q&A session where we welcome your active engagement and reflections. So without further delay, let us begin. And it is my pleasure to invite our first speaker, Dr. Kamal Din Ali, Director General of Ghana Maritime Authority. And my first question will be, in your role as the Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, what are the key challenges and opportunities for digitalization in modernizing African ports, and how can this contribute to sustainable economic growth on the continent? Dr. Kamal Din, the floor is yours. Sorry, you are muted, Dr. Kamal Din.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Khansa Lagdami and the WMU team, as well as the Arab Academy for organizing this very well interactive program. Let me say that maritime opportunities and maritime challenges has been with Africa for a very long time. And much as Africa and Ghana and other countries are trying to fully find their place so that they can have the maximum benefits in the maritime value chain. And of course, there are serious historical antecedents to this. And also because of the global south, global north dimension and much of the divide that we have, much as we are struggling to make sure that we have the best value when it comes to the maritime value chain, there are key opportunities that we currently have, especially in the field of combining maritime trade, maritime opportunities with digitization. Speaking in the case of Ghana, Ghana has transformed substantially when it comes to using technology and making sure that technology is able to drive activities in the port. I think one key area is always how we facilitate trade. Port as, if you want, the entry point of trade and the exit point of trade are very significant when it comes to trade facilitation and when it comes to moving very fast through the maritime chain. In the case of Ghana, some of the technology that has been used are, first of all, on the customs clearance side, where what we call a platform is set up for customs clearance. And goods generally will have to go through customs clearance. And the incomes that is used in Ghana is one of the key technological advancements that has been put in place. The second are the single windows that are implemented, both for trade facilitation, but which is also a major requirement of the IMO in both our Accra and our Tema port. Our two ports play different roles. For example, Tema port tends to hold every type of cargo, whereas our bulk cargo that are very important for our national economy in terms of exports, such as cocoa, such as manganese, will normally move through our Takoradi port. So in each of these ports, digitization has been a major driver. But if we were to look at it from the challenges side as well, I can say that this is a story in the making. It doesn't mean that the port system is fully and fully and completely digitized. We still have areas and gaps that need to be addressed. But beyond the Ghana port and on a regional and continental scale, it will be important that you have other regional ports or other country ports that are also moving the same pace in terms of the technology, or even above what Ghana is now, so that we can have lessons from there and catch up with them. Then you are also looking at digital inclusivity. You may have the port moving, you may have regulatory agencies moving digitally, but you may not have the individual shippers and the individual traders who are very much part of the system also moving at the same space. So you have technological advancement, but you also have gaps in the system. So these are some of the challenges. And as I said, on the African wider scale, you still have a number of countries that are also trying to catch up in terms of the digitization, and ships just doesn't come to one port. They move across, a number of ports. So having a holistic technological transformation should be the way for us to go.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kamaldeen. My second question, and it's really related to all the efforts that Ghana is doing and the other neighbor countries. So how might collaborations between institutions like WMU, for instance, and regional authorities enhance maritime education and training to prepare African professionals for the evolving demands of sustainable seafaring and onshore activities? We know that there is a lot of discussions that the future of seafaring will be in Africa. So how collaboration might between institutions, WMU, the Arab Academy, and other regional authorities in the region might help with this shift?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the future is indeed in Africa in many respects. Of course, Africa will continue to also be the greater source of exports and imports, given the increasing population in the coming years, but also very ready to be able to provide seafarers. If you come back, for example, to the regional maritime university here in Ghana, you have many African countries, especially from the 5 core countries of Cameroon, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Ghana, coming together to have this university and having students and training seafarers. Where will we have the best value in regional maritime university and institutions such as IMLIS or Well Maritime University? Principally, it is important to say that Maritime University, for example, and the Arab Academy and WMU, they tend to offer very high level of training. Some at the very technical level and some at the combined high academic and management level training that will also complement the technical training. I believe that when it comes to very high level management, WMEU, IMLI, and other institutions will continue to set a pace and be able to supply that level of knowledge that is needed to drive regulatory agencies and regional maritime objectives. Then also the various academies that we have across the sub-region, including the Arab Academy, including the Regional Maritime University, are able to supply a high level of technical education also to complement the managerial and research education. But I think one area that we have to be looking at into the future is beyond education in terms of training staff members or potential researchers. How do we set up research programs between, for example, the Arab Academy and the Regional Maritime University in Ghana, but most importantly, the Arab Academy and Regional Maritime University in Ghana versus the World Maritime University, where we begin to go beyond just offering education, but to be having research programs that are able to drive and look into the future of the maritime and be able to have solutions. When it comes to the future of the new seafarers, for example, that must be trained in such a way that they meet the highest standards of technology, but also meet the highest standards such as decarbonization and green transition. It's a major area. Research is needed as much as training is needed to transform the area. Currently in Ghana, once again, we are introducing a number of courses so that our cadets that are coming out on possible ratings that will also complement the cadets are able to fit into the future market of green transition in terms of seafarers. And Maritime University can be a very key supporter in this progress and for us to work together to achieve common partnership results.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kamaldeen. I think I will leave it to Ahmed now for the next question.
Thank you very much, Dr. Khansa, for setting the stage. Let me also extend a very warm welcome to all our distinguished panelists and participants. It is an honor to co-moderate this discussion along with you, Dr. Khansa, and to engage with such an exceptional group of leaders shaping the future of African maritime sector. So now I have the pleasure to turn to Ms. Isa, WMU graduate and recently appointed as a head of maritime of the African section at the IMO. Ms. Isa, it's an honor to have you with us. So I will start with the first question. As you are a WMU graduate and recently appointed to the IMO as a head of African section, how might the international cooperation such as through the IMO innovation help African countries navigate regulatory framework for green shipping and reducing environmental impact in the blue economy?
Thank you so much, Captain Ahmed, and good day to all participants. It's an honor to be here. And just going directly to your question, so as far as IMO is concerned, the international cooperation, specifically through IMO, can play a transformative role in supporting the African countries as they align with the global green shipping standards and also the reduction of environmental impacts in the blue economy. A number of ways that IMO does this is one, through capacity building and technical assistance. IMO is able to provide training, workshops, and advisory missions in order to strengthen the institutional capacity in African maritime administrations. This basically helps the countries understand and implement complex frameworks like the IMO GHG strategy, MAPL Annex 6, and the Ballast Water Management Convention. IMO also offers tailored assistance, which ensures that the regulations are applied consistently while addressing local realities such as the limited infrastructure and financing gaps. We also work through the facilitating access to finance and technology through various cooperation platforms such as the IMO GHG Trust Fund, partnerships with EU, World Bank, UNCTAD, and African states can be able to gain access to climate finance and green shipping technologies. Supporting investment in the low and zero carbon fuels, port electrification, and energy efficient ship designs, reducing the carbon footprint of shipping. We also, as IMO, are able to promote regional harmonization, where we have initiatives that encourage the African countries to develop harmonized policies and regional maritime strategies in order to ensure that the regulatory frameworks are aligned. So regional frameworks such as the African Union 2050 AIM strategy, the Abuja MOU, we work hand in hand with the member states to ensure that they align with IMO standards, coordinating enforcement and reducing the compliance costs for the maritime sector stakeholders across the African ports. We've also have a number of programs touching on digitalization and innovation. As the previous speaker, Captain Dean Ali, has just spoken about the maritime single windows, IMO projects under the facilitation convention, where we're currently ensuring that the maritime single windows are set up in African ports to adopt to technology, digital tools in order to cut the administrative burdens and ensure that there's transparency as far as information flows and just to improve efficiency. So we also have a number of platforms where we enhance knowledge sharing. For example, the African Association of Maritime Administrations, AMA, which IMO supported the formation of, which basically gives the African states access to peer-to-peer learning networks, data sharing initiatives, and they also are able to exchange best practices during such forums in order to ensure that then there's that acceleration and adoption of the green innovation. So in summary, IMO's cooperation initiatives for African countries basically ensures that they can better navigate the complexities of the international regulatory frameworks, providing access for the green transition and in order to build resilience in the blue economy sector. So this not only ensures that the compliance is upheld, but also positions Africa basically as an active player in shaping the future of sustainable maritime trade. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for this. For the second question, what role do you see the international organization like the IMO playing in frustrating cooperation for maritime education and training across Africa to address skill gap in green shipping?
Thank you for that very timely question, because right now, as the transition to green shipping is currently underway, we require a lot of changes, not only on the technology part, but also policy changes to ensure that then we have a highly skilled maritime workforce. So IMO is normally is trying to ensure that we foster collaboration in the maritime education and training institutions across Africa through one, standard setting and guidance. So through the development of global standards for seafarer training and conventions such as the SCCW, we are hoping to then ensure that the adaptation to green shipping is handled well in terms of upskilling the workforce to be able to work with alternative fuels, to understand energy efficiency and also emissions monitoring. By updating the training guidelines and model courses, IMO is trying to ensure that the African training institutions align their curricula with the emerging sustainability and decarbonization needs. We also have engaged on capacity development for the maritime training institutions, where we're supporting a number of MET institutions through targeted technical cooperation programs, including simulator upgrades, training of trainers, so that then the trainers at these institutions are able to offer courses that then are in line with the green transition. IMO TCIP, the ITCP programs basically are being expanded to ensure that we have more focus on the green technologies, digitalization, and sustainable port management. We're also looking at working with WMO hand in hand, as the Director General of Ghana Maritime Authority has just mentioned, to ensure that then we have the regional centers of excellence where training and research are able to keep up with the transition. So basically ensuring that then everything about alternative fuels, renewable energy ports, and also climate risk management is part of the research that we are able to churn out to be able to just ensure that everything is in line with the GAG strategy. We also have a number of partnership and networks that we are looking at in terms of exchange programs, certifications of seafarers, and also providing opportunities through a number of programs where seafarers are able to then gain skills as far as the decarbonization efforts are concerned. It's very important for us with the networks such as the World Maritime University that we're able to serve the stakeholders in the maritime industry to disseminate information on green shipping. So basically, that's what I can say as far as the IMO is concerned, in our role to act as a catalyst and a convener to align the maritime training institutions with the global standards, enabling regional collaboration and mobilizing resources to equip the workforce with the skills needed for a low carbon future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the last question. In your opinion and your point of view, what policy or international cooperation are essential to evaluate, elevate the woman role in governance and this decision making with the African maritime sector?
Yeah, so as you know, currently, basically just Africa, like the globe, from a global perspective, the maritime industry is quite male dominated, especially at governance and leadership levels. So it's very important for us to elevate women's roles in decision making. And this requires both progressive national policies as well as strong international cooperation frameworks. So some of the essential ways that I feel that this can be addressed is one, ensuring that then we have alignment in terms of at policy level to have one gender responsive maritime policies. A number of countries have put up the national maritime transport policies in place, and this basically incorporates issues to do with the gender equality objectives, ensuring that women are represented in all levels of decision making at the ports, maritime administrations, and the industry. Governments can also adopt affirmative action measures such as the quotas, targets for women in leadership roles within the maritime bodies and the regulatory agencies. Another way is through capacity building and leadership development. IMO, working hand in hand with a number of institutions like WMU, has promoted international cooperation through IMO's programs, such as the IMO Women in Maritime program, that basically seeks to train more women leaders to be able to then take up leadership roles in certain in the maritime institutions. We've seen a lot of emphasis on this, and if you look at the recently published survey on the women in maritime, these numbers have been growing. So we can say that this has been working for us, and I believe the policies are able to support then leadership in training, mentorship, and career development for women in the maritime world. Another way I could say is that strengthening regional and international networks. IMO has played an active role in the setup of institutions for women in maritime associations, the WIMAs. We have a number in Africa that then have been able to then basically ensure that then they are able to collaborate and train more women leaders and just maintain the networks for them to have peer learning, advocacy, and visibility for women leaders while ensuring that their voices are heard in decision-making forums. There's also the promotion and promotion of inclusive education and skills development. We have regional centers of excellence, which could be tasked with ensuring gender parity in admissions. The regional universities, like Dr. Kamal has talked about, basically having the gender parity when it comes to admissions. Cooperation at the international level, IMO, ILO, UNESCO, ensuring that then the institutions of learning and maritime institutions basically adopt inclusive recruitment policies and offer scholarships to women in technical and governance programs. We also have the mainstreaming in gender international cooperation agreements. IMO technical cooperation projects basically have a very clear way forward and policy when it comes to gender mainstreaming. And even in our intakes for workshops and so on, we ensure that we have the 50-50 when it comes to the women that are onboarded into such programs or workshops, and participation also at conferences. We basically ensure that we sponsor women when it comes to such conferences and so on. So this just also ensures that women are not just beneficiaries, but are also decision makers in from the design implementation level of women maritime programs. We also have accountability and data collection, where international cooperation, we have tools to monitor the gender disaggregated data collection as far as Africa's maritime sector, tracking their participation in governance and leadership roles. Policies should also link to funding and the recognition to measurable progress in gender inclusion. So in summary, in order to elevate women's roles in maritime governance in Africa, national policies must enshrine gender equality, while international cooperation through the IMO and related bodies and donors should provide the resources, training, and accountability frameworks that then open pathways for women to take up leadership in the various roles in the maritime sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Isa, for those valuable insights. Now we can invite Dr. Khansa so she can continue the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Ahmed, and thank you very much, Isa, for your insightful answers that give us a complimentary information about all the efforts that the IMO is doing in the region. I will move now to Ms. Leila bin Hassan, founder and CEO of Blue Jay Communication based in London. I would like to highlight, by the way, that in our webinar, we are inviting experts from all regions in Africa. So we have representatives of experts that they are working with French-speaking countries, Arabic-speaking countries, and English-speaking countries. This is very important for us to say it and to highlight it, that we are having people that they know really what is happening in the region or in the continent as a whole in different regions. So, Leila, I know that you have been working for so long about the blue economy, and you are one of the initiating people on the Blue Economy Forum. Recently, you have been working on a report with the Lloyd Registry about called the Blue Paper. And my question is, based on this report, what are the key drivers of change shaping the future of maritime employment in Africa, sustainable ocean economy? My colleague Anas will share with the audience the report, a copy of the report, so they can know about what are we talking about. And please, if you can share with us your findings of this research project. Thank you.
Professor Khansa, for the invitation, and good afternoon, everyone. When we looked at the future of the workforce in a sustainable ocean economy globally, not only in Africa, so the Blue Paper highlights 7 key drivers from climate change, from access to finance, investment, from the sustainable practices to a change of adoption of the businesses towards more sustainable businesses and economy. And also there are changing demands in energy, changing demand for regeneration, as well as the rise of innovative and the new ocean industries. When we zoom specifically to Africa, at this stage, I would like to share 4 key drivers, which are the most decisive, I will say, and they are the more influential for the time being to shape the future of the maritime workforce. So first of all, as we all know, it is about climate change and decarbonization. This about the ocean acidification, about the loss of biodiversity, rising seas everywhere, but also a lot of coastal areas in Africa are having these challenges. And these are not future scenarios. There are things that our coastal communities living day by day. In one hand, there are challenges, but also we have to look at it as opportunities for new jobs, opportunities to be more focused on research, as Dr. Kamaltin mentioned earlier, the importance of research about how we need more engineers, more smart technology. So the challenges should be more opportunities for creating a new jobs. Also, we talk about decarbonization and all the net zero and what the IMO is doing to encourage more shipping companies and ports towards the decarbonization. These also are opportunities to move towards green, and these are opportunities to create the new jobs. Some of the jobs will be disappearing step by step, but there are a lot of new jobs that are going to appear and emerge. The good news is there are so many African countries already at this stage of changing and creating new jobs. And a good example of that, if we talk about Durban Port or Mombasa, they are preparing for shore power to cut carbon emissions. The second one, which is extremely important, digitalization and technology disruption. Ports, shipping are all being transformed by automation, artificial intelligence, remote sensing, and smart logistics. Yes, also traditional jobs will be slowly disappearing, but there are also entirely new categories of jobs and sectors within the shipping and ports, for example, will be appearing, and where also most of the geography are barriers. So it's, I think, the challenges, the more there are challenges, the more you find that area cover more opportunities. But also, let's not forget about the importance of digitalization and how digital platforms can connect people wherever they are, and especially we talk about women and young people. So digitalization can connect people and give people and the coastal zones opportunities to have access to new jobs, and especially opportunities to upskilling, reskilling, training, and capacity buildings. The third factor, which is extremely important, that Africa's demographic is increasing, and by 2030, we will have the most, and number one, I think, largest working age population. This is a huge challenge, but also I think it's a once in a generation chance, meaning we have to invest in the right skills, meaning that we have to adapt the right strategy for vocational training, for research, to be able to adapt to the needs of the sectors, the aquaculture, renewable energy, marine engineering, etc., etc. Africa use could be the foundation of a thriving, sustainable ocean economy. And finally, one of the key drivers, which is very, very important, is about policy and investment shifts, because they are the levers to shape Africa's future. So when governments and regional bodies set the rules of the game, then they determine where the capitals, the money, the funds, the investment will follow. And here we have very good example of the African Union, the Blue Economy Strategy. We have also the African Continental Free Trade Areas. They are not just high-level frameworks, but they are job creation engines, and for opening new routes, for opening new opportunities for the young generation and young people to stimulate coastal industry, for example, and embedding sustainability into growth. Countries like Seychelles, also Kenya, Ghana, that are also providing within the sustainability what is written in the ocean policies to attract the climate finance. It's extremely important to have a climate finance that integrate the sustainability and also new rules that take into consideration the gender equality, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So smart policies and targeted investment can turn Africa's ocean from a source of untapped opportunities to driving thousands of, if not millions, of future-ready jobs.
Thank you very much, Leila. And in connection with the fact that Africa has a very young demography, what short-term and long-term strategies that can strengthen Africa's maritime workforce for a sustainable ocean economy?
Thank you, Khamsa. It's a very good question. So I think if we talk about strategy, we can talk about two horizons. So one short term and one long term. So the short term is about fixing the gaps. And then the long term is about what we must intentionally do and build as a foundation to be able to navigate and lead the transformations ahead. So in the short terms, we can mention, for example, three actions. Number one, closing today's skills gaps. We cannot build tomorrow ocean economy with yesterday's skills. So we need the new skills. And this is right now, there are opportunities, but I don't think Africa is ready 100%, or Africa has enough resources to train people, or even the trainers themselves. We have a lack of that also. So it's all about preparing the trainers and closing the gap right now, because there are the technology making the changes moving so fast, and there are so many jobs moving so fast and changing every day, but we don't have skills that are matching this change with the same speed. So we need to close the skills gap as soon as possible. And this is not about, for example, I would like to give Namibia, they have the national skills audit, and this is not just about just a paper. It's about identifying where are the skills in order to address them. And this is a blueprint for opportunities, the way we see it. The second strategy or action that is also very important in the short term is the role that the partnership between the industry and the academia play together. So we can't have just certification or diploma. We really need to have like graduates that they know where they are going straight away. And this is very important. We don't need to have just certification, but we need certification that can fill in the gaps. When graduates come out from the university, then we know exactly where they should go. And this is the program should be into collaboration with the private sector and all the industries. Then one important element also, inclusion, meaning making access inclusive, taking into consideration women and youth. I think Isa mentioned also the role of IMO when it comes to gender and the amazing work they work in gender. So gender is not like a charity. It is a full strategy that can double the capacity, double the opportunity, and fill in the gap where there are skills missing. So we need more inclusive economy to innovate and to lead. This is if we can say the short term. When it comes to long term, I think Dr. Kamaldeen, he tapped into a little bit when he mentioned about the program. And this is like for Africa, it's extremely important to build regional centers of excellence. Meaning, if there is a missing job somewhere, it's not just about, okay, we have skills there, but it's also how to anticipate these changes. How can we have the skills and prepare the young people to anticipate, to lead, to shape the future? And also the center of excellence, this is where we can have more ocean science, more research in all levels of the blue economy in general. So I think centers of excellence are how Africa moves from being a participant to being a pioneer. It's not like following the flow and the changes, but actually leading the change and be the change. Then for the long term also, we talk a lot about the establishing lifelong learning system. So when it comes to diploma, they should not have a short life, meaning it is a passport for new opportunities, but it's continuous learning. So these courses and the diploma, it's great, opens opportunities, but I think we need resources, human resources, financial resources to keep the momentum. Because learning today is every day you have a new AI coming, every day you have a new app, every day you have a new solution, which is amazing. But how Africa can be part of this creation and innovation. So that's why I think being able to provide people who can give this training, give the capacity building is very important. And the third action for the long term, what is important for Africa is also how to embed the workforce goals into policy. Every investment, when we talk about economic investment, should be also an opportunity for investment in people. The asset of the blue economy in Africa is not about ocean or seas, it's the people. So every investment should be focusing on people, how to take people into consideration. And finally, we talk about regional cooperation and mobility, because we can't work alone. No stakeholders can work alone. So it is very important and crucial that there is a regional cooperation, Ghana, Nigeria, all together. We learn from each other. We also talk about mobility, meaning if someone is in Nigeria, can tomorrow move to Ghana and can work. So I think the education should be enabling young people to work everywhere. Yes, Africa is big, Africa is one continent, but working together and enhancing the mobility can help a lot in anticipating and filling the gaps in Africa's skills in the future. So Africa sizes both horizons, urgency, what must be done today, and the vision is also all about how to be prepared, how to shape the ocean economy, and how to lead it. It's not about following, it's about leading. And focusing on people, it's very important.
Thank you very much, Leila. I think all your points are very valuable. One point that's, I think, all, us coming from Africa, we know that's one of the difficulties that we have is how to make the collaboration more effective. So there is some will, let's say, but we still have a lot of challenges on how to make collaboration between not only regional between countries, but also inside of the countries. Sometimes it's very difficult to collaborate between agencies, between ministries. So this is one of the challenges that maybe through, event like this one to raise awareness about it, that we need to do efforts. I will leave it now for Ahmed for the next speaker. Thank you very much, Ahmed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khansa. Also, thank you, Ms. Laila. And of course, the human factor is the most important thing, especially in our region. So now we will, as we go to Captain Amr. Dr. Amr is Dr. Amr is director of the Maritime and Offshore Training Center at the AASTMT, and proud he's WNI alumnus. Dr. Amr, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. So let's start with the first question. As you know, Dr. Amr, the work is being made toward the comprehensive review of the STCW Convention. From your perspective, how might this review address the evolving needs of African seafarers and training institutes, especially considering the unique challenges that we have in our region?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me for this invitation. It's quite an honor to be finally on the other end of this webinars. I've been attending webinars for the WME for the last 10, how many? 11 years since I graduated from the WME. So it's really an honor. Thank you, Dr. Khansa. Thank you, Dr. Anas, and all the organizers. All right. It's another privilege is speaking, is being the last speaker, because I'm only adding a few points that had already been mentioned by the respective panelists, Dr. Kamal and Dr. Isa and Ms. Leila. Regarding the STCW Convention, it has been on the floor of the IMO since the last maybe 5 or 6 years that we are in need of a comprehensive review for the convention, especially when it comes to items related to technology and innovations and the autonomous ships and whatever, all these kind of upcoming events that is pressuring the maritime domain to focus on updating and adding new competences to be added to the maritime seafarers. So it all officially started in 2022 in HTW 9. And later on, next year, on the following year, 2023, there was a report presented by Sweden to the HTW 10. Okay. I think I've lost connection.
No, we can hear you. You can continue, Captain Ahmed.
Okay, sorry. Finally, there's the final report came on with the following recommendation. The key objective of the review was the identify and address gaps in the STD70, the current STD70 convention and the code, of course, and also to evaluate proposals and documents submitted by member states and organizations during these couple of years, develop a roadmap and work plan for a comprehensive revision, consider integration with other IMO frameworks like MSIS and other frameworks, and finally to prepare for future training needs. The major themes that was addressed by this comprehensive review or is planned to do, because finally we're not, till now at least, we do not have a solid items for revision, but at least these are the items that has the most probability to be changed or to be updated. First of all, the digitalization and modern training. We have to face and admit that e-learning and distance learning, especially after the trials that we had in COVID, that it's the new norm. It has something that we need to organize and regulate somehow to make the most value of this kind of training. So there's a direction in the new comprehensive review that we need to regulate e-learning and distance learning, and also the simulation-based, the cloud, the simulation-based training, instead of sending people to just have training on actual simulators, that we can upload a simulator, a cloud-based simulator, and then we do it for training later on. Also, speaking of simulators, the necessity of having marine simulators to be more and more embedded in the maritime education and training process. Currently, we have a very, very shy approach on using simulators in MAT. Maybe on 1 or 2 or 3 competences, that's it, in all the competences that is in the STCW. But this new direction are embedding various simulators to enhance the way that people are educated in the maritime field. Also, there is a direction to adapt cybersecurity and emerging technologies, because when it comes now to, let's say, the adoption of the new MAS code, the autonomous ships code, the cybersecurity is a major challenge. And we as seafarers, when it comes, and let us be frank, when it comes to technology and IT and security and whatever, we are very, very, let's say, not formally educated. Yes, some of us or some colleges, they would press upon teaching some sort of IT or whatever, but not as a formal way of education. So this is another point that is needed inside the SE syllabus, so that we can regulate and formulate this way of education, or this type of education, including the artificial intelligence, AI, Internet of Things, all these kind of immersive technologies. Also, there's quite a good impact on adding environmental and safety training, including ballast water management, GHG emission reduction, alternative fuels, firefighting involving electrical vehicles, so that you can notice that all these kind of new competencies that they are trying to add to the STCW are competencies that are needed with the new technology that is coming on board. Now, not only electrical vehicles could be loaded as cargo on board ships, but also some ships now, they could run with batteries and solar batteries and items, or let's say equipment that is using electrical batteries. So the electrical batteries has another technique in firefighting, and in the normal conventional firefighting systems, this is not applicable anymore. Also, they pressed on the human element and welfare when it comes to mental health awareness, when it comes to psychological safety, when it comes to gender and culture diversity, and violence and harassment prevention. So these kind of human elements they found that is becoming more and more affecting the incidents reports coming from ships. So it's not, let's say, it's very sensible that we need to focus on these items, just to ensure that these items are, as long as they are causing causing the raise of incident reports, so that we need to focus on this and target these kind of new problems inside the curriculum that is being delivered to the seafarers during their undergrad study, and of course postgraduate. Also, they highlighted the issue of electronic certificates, and how it's now more and more in the need of getting environmentally and also economically and financially to get rid of all the paper document and go ahead with the seafarer idea with electronic certificates, renewal of certificates, and all of these kind of jumping into the future of getting rid of paper document. And finally, of course, a very big portion of the review is concerned with the MAS, the Maritime Autonomous Surface Ships, along with the code, the MAS code, the problem with the legality of this kind of ships, collision avoidance or whatever, and also the dynamic positioning, which there's quite a good portion of countries, or let's say administrations, that are pushing forward to move the dynamic positioning schemes from Code Section B to Code Section A. Of course, you know that Code Section B is only a guideline, whereas Code Section A is the mandatory part. And finally, some kind of legalization when we come to the education of yachtsmen, or the yes, for pleasure and for small vessels, and so they need some kind of certification and education that should be included in the new STCW. I think that's it. The plan was to introduce this comprehensive review in 2025, but given the time in hand, I don't think that we would make it in such time. And hopefully we will see this, at least an early version of this comprehensive review, maybe late by 2025 or early 2026, and maybe Isa can give us a heads up on this kind of production. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Captain Amr. Of course, the AI and AR, all of this will change too much things in our STCW, especially in the MET. So we'll go to the second question. In your view, do NGOs and international networks such as the International Association of Maritime University, the IAMO, have a role in enhancing maritime education and training in Africa? And how can innovation like the IAMO new GMP contribute to the strength regional capacity?
Okay, thank you very much for this question. Actually, we will be, personally, I've been involved with the International Association of Maritime Universities. Okay. All right. So the thing is that this International Association of Maritime Universities have been involved in presenting or developing a STCW similar guidebook that contains some sort of a few competencies that normally we in the IAMO, I'm not speaking of the behalf of the IAMO, but this is their point of view, that STCW of course the 2010 Manila amendments had not faced or had not presented the full competent seafarer that we are looking for. So the IAMO came up with this global maritime professional book of knowledge to introduce new competences as a guidance for universities and MET entities to add up some new competences in their own curriculum, so that they can be ready with the future seafarer, the seafarer that has the ability or the capability to tackle all the futuristic MET or the futuristic seafaring, shipping and mass and whatever. So in 2019, we had issued the first version of the GMP, and currently we are preparing the second version of the GMP. Actually, me and Captain Ahmed are in the editing team, of course, and Captain Manuel, of course, Dr. Michael Manner from the WMU is the head of the team. We are preparing this new edition of GMP that contains even newer competencies that we see or we think that is very, very important for the future of the seafaring education. Thank you very much. And let me add the GMP is a free version document that you can download from the IAMO website. I can later on send the link for you.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you very much, Captain Amr, Dr. Amr, for these valuable insights.
Thank you.
So I will hand over back to Dr. Khansa.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. Thank you very much, Amr. It's really great to see all your efforts also from the side of the Arab Academy and from the International Maritime Association. So I'm very pleased to see that we got a lot of interest, a lot of questions. So I will hand it to my colleague, Dr. Anas Alamouche, for a few questions. I don't think that we have much time, 5 minutes. Maybe 2 to 3 questions to our panelists, please.
Okay. Thank you very much to all the panelists for your insightful contribution. As mentioned, we received a lot of questions. We have selected a few of them to ensure that we have responded to some. Apologies in advance, but all the questions and answered will be answered and sent to the participant by the end of the webinar. So my first question is to Dr. Kamal. From your perspective, how can African maritime authorities and institutions ensure that digitalization not only improves efficiency, but also creates more opportunities for young African seafarers entering the maritime industry? You have 2 minutes to answer.
Okay. Thank you very much. There are many broad interventions that are very needed. The good thing is that many of the seafarers that are getting into the maritime industry, especially from here in the Regional Maritime University, are people that are very much attuned with modern technology generally and have the desire to bridge the technological gap. So I think what we need to do, and which is starting incrementally, is to make sure that whilst they are undertaking their training at the Regional Maritime University or wherever academy they are, that they are exposed as much as possible to the digital platforms that are available, to the digital solutions that are available, and make them become, if you want, partners of technology before they leave there. They are people who are technologically interested. So making the technology available during the training is one of the key ways. And then making sure whilst they are in their career and they are coming for renewal of their certificates, such technological developments are also exposed to them as part of new things that they need to take on board. Green transition is particularly important, and I'm sure that many technological tools will arise or will be developed alongside the green transition thinking and discussion, and such technology should be made available as part of the training. Thank you so much.
Dr. Kamaldeen, as a follow-up question, we know that there is a lot of difficulties to attract young people to the seafaring work and to retain the ones that we have. In your point of view, how we can attract more young people to work at sea, basically in Africa?
I think the good news is that there are two dynamics that occur globally. But when it comes to my current experience with the West African context, those two dynamics are not necessarily the case. A while ago, we talked, for example, about inclusivity for women. Anytime we talk about inclusive for women, I said then Ghana Maritime Authority and some of the maritime authorities in this sub-region must receive awards because there are more women in management in Ghana Maritime Authority than there are men. And if I look at the future of the Ghana Maritime Authority, it's a future of one that will remain like that for a very long time to come. And I can see that across a number of African countries. So coming back to seafarers as well, there is high interest of seafarers in still young people still undertaking seafaring. Let me give an example. Even when it comes to women, the Regional Maritime University in Ghana had hoped to have 20 women, enrolling for cadetship, and they had 99 this year. So that is one example, and there are many people that are interested. I think the challenge we have is that the global maritime industry will have to take the conversation a bit higher and at a higher level. Whereas African young people are available, so seafaring, the opportunities for them to do that beyond the training is a major thing. We carry them through the training, through the Regional Maritime Academy, and we cannot get sea time for them. They are very brilliant, they are very enthusiastic, they want to spend their life in seafaring, but just to get a sea time for them so that they can get their COC is a challenge for me in the Regional Maritime University. We are also having a growing trend where some countries are receiving them visas, for example. We've had investment in seafarers, and the seafarers, especially those that are supposed to work in the cruise ships and the hospitality industry, are not able to get the requisite visas for some of the countries. Let me take an example. We are having an increasing situation where originally Ghanaian seafarers or seafarers from the Regional Maritime University used to have 2 years of US visa. That diminished to 1 year. And recently, the U.S. embassy is actually issuing them only 3-month visa. Who is going to employ somebody who has spent thousands of dollars and who is to serve the global maritime industry if the person is being issued 3-month visa? Where is the person going to work? And we all know that in the cruise ship industry, for example, every employer will want to make sure that the seafarers have got a visa for at least a number of countries, including US and in Brazil, for example. So these are some of the challenges, despite all the interest of the African youth to get into seafaring. We are having practical challenges that are preventing them. And some of the investment that we are making as Regional Maritime University, as maritime administrations, we are challenged with these practical difficulties of just getting the seafarers to have either sea time in order to qualify finally for their career, or even when they have qualified, to have the requisite visas and opportunities for their employment. And that is highly unfair, because on record there is not even incidents of cases that show that Ghanaian seafarers, for example, have abandoned their ships somewhere. So I think we have to look at the wider global maritime industry. And to the extent that we all claim that the global maritime industry is the fulcrum of the world, I think we have to look at it and make the necessary decisions at higher level to make sure that these seafarers who wants to put their opportunities at our collective disposal are able to have that opportunity to do so.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kanal. I'm pleased to announce that the session is extended for 10 minutes, so we can take a couple of questions and leave some space for Professor Khansa to present some concluded remarks, if you wish. So my question here is to Ms. Mwanalulu. How can member states benefit from the trainers program you spoke about, as it relates to maritime training institutions?
Thank you so much, Anas. And yeah, just to go directly to the question. So how IMO normally works is when we organize workshops, whether national or regional, we normally do it hand in hand with the maritime administrations, because they're normally the focal points. So when we have the call for nominations, for example, for training of trainers or the participants, we normally send this through the maritime administrations or the ministry in charge, in the case where we have a country that maybe does not have a maritime administration. So I would request that then you always have to check with your maritime administrations, as we normally send all the call for nominations through the maritime administrations or the relevant ministries. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mwanalulu. And one more question to Captain Amr. From a maritime education and training perspective, what curriculum innovations or teaching methods do you see as the most critical for preparing the next generation of African maritime leaders?
Well, with no question, this is a simulator-based education is the highest, most beneficial educational system there is, because we in the maritime field we are an vocational education that is based mainly on extending expertise, transition of knowledge, transition of sensible, let's say, a lot of tacit information that is available between this link between the instructor and the trainee. And there's no better way for this transition to be smoothly made other than in a simulator, inside a simulator. Of course, yes, I know that not all educational, let's say, programs could be delivered on simulator, but the necessity and the importance of, as you said, embedding simulator-based education in almost all aspects of maritime education and training is very, very essential. And also, like, one more thing that I forgot to mention in the comprehensive review, that they are also pushing for the sea time reduction system, which is basically that you can join a simulator for training, and this would cut off the time that you need for training as a cadet on both ships. And this is very, very, let's say, beneficial when it comes to African cadets. Of course, Dr. Kamal can support me here. In Africa, we face a lot of challenges for cadets to have cadetships opportunities because of the lack of national flag companies and ships.
Thank you very much, Captain, for your response. And the last question we have today for Ms. Laila: how can African nations better position their blue economy potential to attract responsible investments while protecting their maritime ecosystems?
That's a very good question. So I think you are talking more how to attract investment. I think one of the things I mentioned earlier is not just about economy and the growing and focusing on the business. I think we talk about just a transition, green transition, and for me, this is meaning leaving no one behind. And if you want a sustainable, long-term, good investment, we have to put people at the heart of this investment. And this comes back to leaders, to policymakers, how they need and should incorporate anything related to people, well-being, human in general, in the heart of any investment. I mean, all the criteria should incorporate inclusion, diversity, equity, etc.
Thank you very much, Ms. Laila. The floor is yours, Professor Khansa, for your concluding remarks.
Thank you very much, Anas. Thank you, everyone. And as we come to the close of this insightful and inspiring webinar, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our distinguished panelists, Dr. Kamal Din Ali, Ms. Monolu Isa Mwajita, Ms. Leila bin Hassan, and Dr. Captain Amar Munir for generously sharing their expertise and perspective on the future of Africa's maritime sector. Today's discussion has underscored the transformative potential that we have in terms of digitalization, green shipping, maritime education and training, and inclusive leadership in shaping a resilient and sustainable blue economy across the continent. It is clear that through strong collaboration between African nations, regional organizations like the ones that's in the Arab countries, but also in Central and West Africa, WMU, other regional universities, the one of Ghana, the Arab Academy, etc., and the IMO, of course, and diverse stakeholders across government, industry, and academia, we can overcome challenges and seize opportunities for growth and innovation. Thank you to everyone who joined us today for engaging with this important conversation. We hope it has sparked at least some new ideas, connections, and commitment to advance Africa's blue economy. We look forward to your continued participation in future events and collaboration as we work together to make this vision a reality. On behalf of the World Maritime University and the Arab Academy for Science, Technology, and Maritime Transport, thank you once again and have a wonderful day.